I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
You know, there are days I tell everyone who will listen that Google can be your friend because we can get so much information on Google once you get past all the paid ads and the Wikipedia that everyone has a chance to put their 2 cents in. You can find out a lot of information about people. And so nowadays, where there are so many dating sites and places where people can kind of reinvent themselves, it's kind of nice to know that if you're savvy enough on social media, you might be able to find out some truths. But should you? Today, we want to talk about if you should investigate for your friend or your family member, or okay, maybe for yourself, when you start dating someone, even if you don't get any of those weird vibes or red flags, because sometimes people will tell you just enough for you to start wondering, this person sounds interesting. Let's find out more about them. Now, you could go on their Facebook page if they do Facebook, but a lot of millennials and generations don't necessarily use Facebook. That's become an old people site. But there's Instagram. You can find out what kind of pictures that they put on. There's uh, Twitter, if you're still on Twitter, or Threads, if you've moved over to that. So, and of course, there's our old friend, Ms. Google. But the thing is, sometimes you might find out something from a friend or about, their love interest. Should you tell them if it's kind of suspicious? Are you sure that this is the same person? And are you sure that they would want to know? So, sisters, I'm going to ask you because, your kids are millennials and mine is a Generation Zer. And while I do want to respect her privacy, even she knows that, sometimes people aren't who they say they are. And she always has a worry about being kidnapped, trafficked, something happening. So even when she goes out, we always have her location. She always has ours. So it's not like we're stalking her, we're stalking each other. But she also gives her location to her friends. And so she's always like really cautious. So should we also do our due diligence on investigating people? What do you think?
My favorite show to watch over and over is that dating movie with Will Smith.
Oh, Hitch.
Hitch. Oh
Never
my
saw
goodness.
it.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
it's hilarious. It's fun. His whole job is getting people to get set up with their love interest, and he
Mm-hmm.
does the research on their person and sets up a situation where everything will occur naturally, even though it's contrived. But
So like a matchmaker.
Yeah, yeah. He's a
but highly skilled at doing that.
mm-hmm.
Now, I think that it is important, if you are really a good friend or even a good parent, that you do a little bit of research on the person because you are concerned. I remember my marathon running buddy, Tony, when she had met her love interest online. And it was so funny because he was from Kenya, and she had a bunch of questions. There were like about 5 of us girls that got together for lunch, and we had our list of questions for her love interest, who is now her husband, and they've been married like about 10 years now. But it was really funny because he answered everything, and you know, between the six of us, we asked him every question there possibly was, even asking him, since he was from Kenya, now you don't have another wife, and you're just adding on another one, do you? You know, and he just laughed and stuff, but it was all good.
Yeah.
It was all good natured. uh I don't think anybody actually did any research. Well, actually, one of the ladies actually did look him up, find out stuff about him and his family, and a lot of things that are you would consider kind of personal. You have no idea how much of your private business is online if somebody is willing to search you out.
Exactly.
But is
Exactly.
it right to do it? Um, I don't think that it is wrong up to a point. I think when your sons and daughters are young and you're still the helicopter parent, you're still hovering over them, and you might want to research things if they are cagey about giving you any information about them.
Yes.
Uh, I think that we live in a day and age where we can do a little bit of research. We're not just being nosy. We're not being Marie from Everybody Loves Raymond, but uh, but we do want to know stuff for our friend or our child's well-being. There was this other thing I was thinking about, how a lot of times we just want to make sure that our friend is safe, that they're not being taken in by a scammer, especially if you are a senior and you know that there are scams out there of
Yes.
people trying to get your money. So sometimes you really are being a person who is wanting to help your friend, be on the lookout for your child's safety. Um, and because we live in a time where you can do that kind of research and find out things that may not be revealed, especially if you might be picking up red flags, I personally think it's okay.
Well, I think in these times, because we have the capacity to do so, that absolutely we should. Now, I have a friend from Mauritania, and when she got ready to get married, she said, "This is common. This is the way it's done. You research everything about that person." Her husband was coming from Nigeria, so even though they're both on the continent, they're two different countries, and
Yes.
so they did extensive research, and that not just the obvious surface things like do you have a prison record, or did you have a previous wife that died mysteriously. Those kind of
All
things,
those are legitimate questions.
all which are all legitimate questions. But I mean, things into the family history, like is there a family history of mental illness or anything like that. Your financial situation, are you do you have a shady business reputation, or any other
Trump.
kind of but those things matter because you're marrying into whatever that person is. So there is thorough research done into their family history, who they're connected to. Do you have somebody in your family that has gone to jail for murder or anything? I mean, the things that you're going to be connected to if you marry into that family. Your family does some research, so whatever reputation they have, whoever's close to them has, all of that is taken into consideration as to should you be marrying into this family. So it's not even just them, it's all of the people that they're connected to, because you are marrying into a family. So, she was explaining that to me. At first I thought, well, that's kind of harsh, but when you think about it, you are marrying into the family. Do you have that relative that's questionable? Because you think about it, you're going to be, if you're, say if you're researching your child's love interest, and you know that your child, if they marry this person, they're going to have your grandchildren. does that person have within their immediate circle among their siblings somebody who whose background is questionable, who you may have to fear your grandchild's safety,
The funny uncle,
the
or
funny uncle that nobody talks about, but everybody knows has ruined the lives of so many people in the family because nobody will talk about, molestation, other things, or drug addiction, which makes you do all of the kind of things. So all of those things have to be asked. And people worry about being politically incorrect, but sometimes, look, if I have to hurt your feelings, oh well, but I need to know, tell me about this incident in your life. Tell me about this person in your sibling's life, or your uncle or aunt or cousin's life that you're close to, that might have access to any of our future children, or current children. If you're coming in, and it's critical, if you're coming into a relationship and you have
yes,
from a previous relationship, you need to feel that who you're exposing your children to is somebody who is aware of their circle of friends and associates and relatives, and will not expose your child or children to any danger. So you really do have to ask the tough questions, have them hopefully be honest. And a person could have a person could have a prison record, but they need to be upfront about it. What happened? Did you make a bad decision? Everybody who did time ain't innocent. Okay, did you do some dumb things in your teen years or 20s or whatever,
right.
or even 30s? But what happened? What are the circumstances? And what did you learn from that? Are you now different because you have gone through that experience and transformed? I mean, it's all kinds of things. A person could have had a previous drug addiction, alcohol addiction. Okay, I'm in AA. I don't drink anymore. All right, well, that's fine. If that is something, and you feel like this person has truly transformed their life, but you want to know those things. You want to know what are the things that they're still working on in themselves, so that if you see signs of it, you can maybe be supportive. Or you want to know in advance, so that's not really a problem I want to be dealing with in my life, so you're not really a good match for me. I'm not trying to live that or relive that issue. I mean, at least you can make the decisions about that. But I don't think it's gossip if you find out something about somebody that someone you care about is about to
That is
get
credible.
involved
That
with.
is credible. Not rumors,
Not
not
rumors.
my friend of a friend said, but
Yeah.
credible
Right.
information. You
Yeah.
know,
Credible information. Oh, so and so is a womanizer and got 10 children by
Yeah.
5 different women. Okay, well, that's
Right.
verifiable stuff. I mean,
yeah,
birth certificates or whatever. But if that's, even if that's in that someone's past, but if that is an issue that would affect a relationship and you find out about it, yeah, you should say something, and so that they at least can be equipped to ask the right questions and get information that can help them make a decision as to whether or not this is a person they want to get into a serious relationship with, based on what they're going to be exposing themselves to.
And the other thing is that we live in a society where, like you said, Naima, it's not gossip to research stuff. You
Yeah.
don't even have to necessarily go online. There are guidelines for certain things to look for, that your friend may be so in love that they are blinded by red
yeah,
flags that
yeah.
you, as a friend or a parent, might see. There are books that talk about different things to be on the lookout for. I know Dave Ramsey's financial series talks about it not being wrong to find out if your love interest has a huge, are they coming into the relationship with a huge school debt? Or, do they have a
Need to know.
gambling problem?
Ooh.
There's also a book called How Not to Fall in Love uh, with a Crazy Person. I don't know. That's not necessarily the title of
Y'all
one,
I
supposed
don't
to
think
have
so.
read
but
that
there
first.
are books like
But
that.
there are things called, there's one that I read, it was Smart Women, Foolish Choices.
Yeah.
And I read this after I'm trying to think, was this after I made my first foolish choice? or actually what I would say that was my last foolish choice.
Mhm.
So I read that one because my current spouse is not a foolish choice. He's actually a good choice. But and that's the other thing. I mean, I was lucky because we worked in the same place, but when I asked people about him, they all had good things to say. People that I trusted were thrilled that we were together because they talked about, his integrity. So, so ask people who know him or who know of that person, he or she. But the smart women, foolish choices, I think what it talked about women who fell in love with potential. Oh, he's a
Yeah.
dreamer and he's got all these plans and all this other kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Well, he's planning, well, what he or she, because let's be real, there are scammers who are also female. What they are planning on doing is spending your money. Be careful when there are people who are long distance relationships and they have tons and tons of, because people meet online and that's fine if that's where you do it.
Yeah.
We're past that because we're boomers and we didn't meet each other that way, but a lot of people meet online.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden this person, maybe they are overseas and they have all these plans and they're so in love with you, but they've had this problem with their visa. And first it's a few $100s. Or,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden it's all of this and you don't know what's going on. Beware, obviously many of us are there, you're aware of somebody having a little bit of financial problems. You know what? You're not a bank.
Well,
You're not.
I had a friend. I had a friend who was supposedly engaged to this woman. I think she was in Jamaica, something like that. Supposedly having, like you just mentioned, visa problems, and so he was constantly sending her money, supposedly to so she could try to get over here. And I think that went on for about 10 years before he finally let that go. And
Yeah.
matter of fact, I'm trying to
That's a
remember how he
long
finally did.
time.
That is a long time.
Well, you know what?
Where his wife at
People,
that you got this over there just trying to get over here? I don't remember if it was Jamaica or it might have been somewhere further away. But either way, I think it finally dawned on him that this was a scam. Because I mean, he thought he was in love with her and she was beautiful and all that stuff. But she couldn't, whatever immigration problem they were having. So he was constantly sending her money. And this went on year after year after year. And I guess he didn't want to accept the fact that this was a scam because she was not ever going to come over here.
yeah,
And if she did, she might have came over here and left him, which happens too.
which
So
happens
I,
because they are feeding their families off of your
yeah,
money.
off your
And
money.
that's the
That's what's
thing is, and a lot of times things start innocently enough. Well,
happening.
for instance, I'm going to tell a quick story that happened when I was on Twitter and I was responding to someone and this person DM'd me. Well, I don't friend exes at all
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook or anything. I don't care where you are. If you're an ex, there's a reason you're an ex. So I'm not interested. But this person reached out to me and we were talking back and forth. And this person said, and you could see that I could tell he was probably trying to build up to a relationship. But
Mm,
I say right away, and I even told my husband because I says, I don't have emotional affairs and
mm-mm.
I don't keep secrets from my husband.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling about this guy who says he was in the service and that kind of stuff, and he was talking, sends a picture, shows a picture on his Twitter, and I said, let's Google this. Well, that same image came up under somebody else.
Oh no.
And and it was a different name. And I said, you know what's funny? So next time he contacted me, I said, you know what's funny? He says, what? I said, I think I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. And I blocked him. And that was it. I just said, because I don't remember if I showed him that I had found that. I think
Yeah.
I did. I think I showed him that I had found that other picture of him.
Just so he know the jig is up.
But blocked him, and that was the end of it. But it was very funny because it's easy enough to grab an image of someone. I mean, if I'm going to flirt with someone, am I going to look like a 66-year-old woman? No, I'm going to probably send a picture of my daughter and all her finery, you know.
Or
But
yourself at 25.
or myself at 25. But that's the thing, is this is how people get scammed. It's because we are so lonely. We're also very lonely as a society,
Yeah.
that, when we, because with, even before the pandemic, we were way too connected to people on Instagram and Facebook, and people we hadn't met for a long time on Facebook. There weren't people that I didn't know personally. I said, I don't have 1,000 friends,
Yeah.
and you could, if you pass them on the street, you wouldn't know them. Get those people off your Facebook. You don't know those people.
Right.
You put all your business in the street. But,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's the
Or what
thing,
you're
and
sharing on Facebook, you
what
really
makes
want
it
strangers to
easy.
know that.
Yeah, and that's what makes it easy for you to be scammed.
Yeah.
And it also makes easy
Telling all your
for people to find out information about you. It's like putting your kid's name on their backpack and everything. It's easy for a stranger to come up and say, "Oh, blah blah. Your mom sent me to get you,"
Yeah.
because they know your name.
Right.
So let's one, be diligent about what we put out there, but also
Right.
do your due diligence. Now, yeah, if that person has an Instagram account and you say, okay, let's find out if they're on here liking everybody else's. See who their followers are. Are there
Right.
is
But
it
they're following
all
what you
these
follow.
girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever, and like I said, if you have credible information and you find out something about somebody, says, oh, you know what, he used to date my friend, but they broke up because there was like domestic violence. You know,
That's an
you-
important piece
that's
of
important for you
information.
to tell your friend. And
Yeah.
sometimes you may have to sacrifice that friendship and say, I've heard this. I checked it out. It actually is true. Be careful. And they may get mad because
Well, that's
Right.
what I was going to ask. How
yeah,
do you
What to do
deal
if they
with?
get mad at you?
Yeah, if you find some credible information, but by then they've decided they're in love with this person, and you want to warn them if this is somebody who maybe has a history of domestic violence,
I
and they
tried
don't
to
see
tell
any of
you.
that right now, and all they can hear is, oh, you're just jealous because I got a good man or
because
whatever.
I got a man and you don't.
Yeah.
Especially, for us, for
Yeah.
those single ladies out there, that we're always looking like we're in competition with each other. And we have to remember the sisterhood of, if the guy, if you all are all out, and as soon as your friend gets up, he tries to hit on you. Do you tell them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
That
and
is
I've
not
had that
I've
good.
had that
experience.
happen.
I've
I've
had
had
that
that happen when
experience.
I was young and single and had somebody's husband who tried to hit on me. And of course, you don't say anything because you don't want to hurt your friend. And then
Yeah.
later on, when they split up, you tell them, and they say, "Well, why didn't you tell?" Well, there was,
Would you
it
have
was
believed me? He would have
yeah, would
denied it.
you have
I mean,
believed,
that's
or
the thing.
but it's
When
so
you know,
awkward,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, that is such a sensitive issue
It
when
is.
that
Right.
comes up, because if they're doing that with you, they are doing that with other people.
That's right.
And
And that's what I found out, that this person was doing it with other people, other friends that I had. And it was like, okay, but nobody talks about it. So as women and as men, I mean, if you're with your buddies, and as soon as you get up to use the restroom, your girlfriend is like trying to slip you her number or something like that, man, you
Mhm.
all also need to talk to each other. I know
Right.
that probably most of
Yeah.
our audience are probably more women than men, but men, you know what? You all also need to have each other's back, and not think, and that's hard for men to do because
Yeah, because it's the
all of us
same
are in
thing.
competition. We all feel like we're in competition. Oh, you're just saying that so that as soon as I break up with her, you're gonna get with her, and
Yeah,
maybe that'll
and
happen.
that's a
But
lot of times the reason why people hesitate to tell a good friend that their person that they thought was so wonderful tried to hit on them as soon
yeah,
as their back was turned. So, because then you risk losing that friendship. But that has happened. That's happened to me twice actually.
hmm,
And and both times, of course, the woman confronted the man, and she said,
lie,
yeah, she's lying. They just jealous. So one thing you learn is the strength of your friendship too, because you feel like, okay, does this person not trust me, or are they so blinded by this person that they can't see the signs? Like you're saying, Barbara, if they hit on you, they probably hit on the other friends too.
Yeah.
It just didn't just happen. It's not just, oh, I'm just vain, I think everybody wants me. No, this is a person who, that's who they are, and your friend needs to know. But that's why I guess the whole online dating thing makes it difficult to check for somebody, because when you're all like in the same circle, or at least the person that you're considering in a relationship is somebody that your friends know, at least you can kind of check some references. I mean,
Right.
one thing
Or when you're on a dating site and you see your friend's husband on it under a different name.
like
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing on there?
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, the old days of meeting people in reputable places like book clubs at libraries, maybe you run into somebody shopping or
at work,
all these different things. There was this commercial that makes me laugh. Really, it's about a car, but this woman is on a date in a restaurant with a guy, and when he gets up to go to the restroom, she Googles him. Obviously, she finds out some stuff about him that's not wonderful. She gets up from her seat and runs out of the restaurant to her car. And you're just laughing because you know she found out something about him just by Googling his name while he was in the bathroom.
But you should be Googling him before you step into the restaurant.
Yeah, really, that should have been beforehand. Yeah, because
well, it was about a car, so
yeah.
Is it good you drive a Prius?
Yeah, exactly.
So the thing about it though, it really is helpful if you have some friends in common that you trust. And one thing, I guess, because when I met Sultan, because we were kind of all in the same, like, production media industry, we had a friend in common that I had just worked with. So that for me, that was kind of a sign of, okay, well, at least I know we're in the circle of people who can tell me, what is it about this person, right, or, something, because you have to check some references some kind of way. There has to be something.
It's the most important job. It's like a job. Check the references.
Like a job, give me a reference that I can call it, a recent place you worked, a friend, a relationship, something, because it's difficult when everybody's so disconnected and so depending on like dating sites. I mean, I've had some friends who found a loving person overseas.
Oh, I have too. Good people, but then they got together with the person and built the relationship in person over time. And I remember suddenly the name of that book. It was How Not to Fall in Love with a Jerk, How Not to Get Married to a Jerk.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think people are, if a person is good at being able to woo somebody, like you say, somebody looking for a meal ticket, a green card, or whatever the case may be, a way out of their dysfunctional situation, and they can look so wonderful in the beginning, buy you stuff and all the things that
all the love bombing should be a red flag.
Yeah, view all of that with suspicion.
All of a sudden, I'm much older and much wiser, but the whole, you're perfect, blah, 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 that should be a red flag. And if you see that happening with your friend, you need to say, maybe you should back up a little bit and think about this, because this is an awful lot, awful soon.
Absolutely. Well, we got to go, but definitely good advice. Think about it. Check
be a good friend, be a good parent.
Be a good parent, be a good friend. Absolutely. Well, until next time, and make sure you like and follow our Facebook and YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms. Until next time, I'm Naomi.
I'm Cheryl.
I'm Barbara. We are 3 Black Moms. Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black moms.